I get hit with a wave of existentialism every now and again and revisit one of the many unanswerable questions, who am I? And frankly, I may never have the answer to that question, but the answer that I'm currently satisfied with is that who I am now is largely represented by my habits. In fact, a study conducted by researchers from Duke University in 2006 found that habits constituted 40% of our waking behavior. And this number has more recently been quoted to be as high as 70% on the Andrew Huberman Lab podcast. Most of our life is spent on autopilot. It is no surprise then that so much effort is devoted over the course of our lives towards improving habits for our long-term well-being or other personal growth goals. Revising our habits is a difficult problem. First, there's an innate resistance due to the stresses in our daily routine. And as we get older, life tends to get even busier, further increasing this friction. On a deeper level, habit formation requires us to rewire our brains to establish new neural pathways that support this change. This is called neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to rewire itself. And also as we age, neuroplasticity universally tends to decrease with a steep drop-off after 25 years old. I want to stress that this does not mean that we cannot learn new habits after this age. We can absolutely still form neural connections and learn habits, but it's important to understand the increased difficulty and underscore the importance of approaching behavior change in a tactical way for lasting results. To get personal, some habits were so deeply entrenched in my own life that I even started to identify with them in the past. I would label myself as an ice cream fanatic or a wing aficionado, not because I had a vested interest in the exploration and discussion of flavor profiles and the aesthetic qualities of those foods. It was quite simply because I could not resist them to the point where they became necessities that I could not fathom living without. Over the last 2 years, my diet and fitness habits have undergone significant change, and I've learned a lot through both self-observation and reading up on the psychological aspects of behavior change. In today's video, I will go over a useful way to frame rewards to enable long-lasting behavior change. At the heart of this discussion is dopamine, which is a vital neurotransmitter that plays a leading role in our drive and our motivation. It is really important to keep this chemical in mind when forming new habits, because by strategically triggering dopamine release when adopting new habits, you can strengthen the neural pathways associated with the habits that you wish to add to your life. So let's talk about immediate rewards first. Offering ourselves immediate rewards on completion of desired habits is a natural way to motivate ourselves. This approach is firmly grounded in the principle of positive reinforcement, which is a behavior change model that is commonly used to modify behaviors in pets and sometimes children. Interestingly enough, it is also used in our education system through grades to encourage further learning. However, while we as humans often rely on this tactic when trying to change our own behavior, I've discovered that this method falls short in creating lasting and meaningful transformations. For example, when I embarked on my weight loss journey, I set a goal for myself to jog 2 miles every day, and to motivate myself, I decided to reward myself with an episode of Peaky Blinders after each cardio session. However, this caused 2 major problems. First, on days that I felt lazy and didn't want to go for a run, I wouldn't run, but I also didn't watch the show to keep myself accountable. I believe that if I didn't get the reward, I didn't have to pursue the activity. However, this undermined the commitment I made to work out every day, as the purpose of the reward was to motivate me to engage in the activity, not to be an excuse to not complete it. The second problem was, once I had watched all the episodes and there was none left to watch, my motivation to go for a jog went kaput. And it got to the point where my motivation to jog had fallen well below my original impulse to go for a jog from before I implemented this reward system in the first place. The excitement attached to the reward far overshadowed the excitement I wanted to cultivate for the actual activity. And as a result, my motivation to jog had actually decreased over time. To understand this problem better, I'd like to frame this example in the context of dopamine. Nearly everything we do every day, whether it's talking with friends, going for a walk, cooking a meal, watching TV, video games, what have you, our bodies trigger a dopamine release. When we accomplish something that we set out to do, such as completing a habit, dopamine is also released, though likely in smaller quantities. However, certain activities generate a stronger release of dopamine than others. For instance, indulging in fatty foods or playing video games tends to produce a more potent dopamine response than eating healthy foods or playing card games. And this is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just important to keep in mind for the next point. which is that rewards come easily to us by design, result in greater satisfaction, and tend to release a lot of dopamine. If I choose a reward, it's guaranteed that I will enjoy it. While conversely, habits do not come as easily to us and release far fewer amounts of dopamine. This is apparent from how difficult it is to have the habit in the first place. And this imbalance often results in the habit revolving around the reward rather than the habit itself. And this increases our dependency on the chosen reward while also making us more averse to the habit that we wanted to incorporate in our routine in the first place. In an ideal case scenario, we want dopamine released when engaging in a new habit, even if it's in smaller quantities, to continue driving us towards that habit. This reinforces habit formation and long-term adherence. We don't want this satisfaction to be tied to a highly satisfying reward that immediately follows the habit by accident. If immediate rewards are absolutely necessary, it's crucial to avoid self-sabotaging rewards. A quintessential example of this would be going to the gym to pursue some sort of fitness goal and rewarding yourself with junk food afterwards. This results in a double whammy. This not only makes the habit revolve around the reward, as I previously mentioned, but also reinforces the negative reward in your lifestyle. And this in actuality will set you back. Breaking up with unhealthy food in this scenario in the long term becomes much more difficult when you've elevated it to a reward status. As a solution, it's important to pick rewards that align with your goals or at the very least don't sabotage your progress. Taking relaxing walks, reading a book, or even watching a show you've been looking forward to are examples of non-sabotaging rewards in the context of a fitness goal. However, I want to emphasize the significance of doing the new habits for the sake of the habit itself rather than for any other reason for the long run. Speaking of, I have found that treating yourself to longer-term rewards that align with your identity or lifestyle is highly effective in reinforcing not just a habit, but even a family of habits that surround that. For example, last year I challenged myself to walk at least 20,000 steps a day and cook every meal from home for a month. And when I finished, I rewarded myself with a new pair of walking shoes and beautiful OXO food containers. These items provided me a lot of value in the following ways. The first was environmental. By incorporating more fitness and nutrition-related items into my own environment, I was constantly reminded of my own priorities. For example, when I was scrolling through Instagram lazily and caught eye of my clean shoes, I jumped right off the couch and went for a run. Or when I was about to buy some treats online, and my OXO containers filled with unprocessed foods were staring me down, I got to cooking and immediately removed those items from my cart. I'm just kidding, but you get the idea. This also provided benefits in action. When using these items for runs or while I was cooking, these made the habits more enjoyable. I could appreciate the added support in my walking shoes having walked so much the month before. And I can appreciate the functional value of the OXO containers having had to wrestle through an army of rubber bands, clips, and knots to get to different ingredients in different areas of my kitchen. And I'd like to highlight that these rewards didn't immediately follow the successful completion of a habit, and thus they did not detract from the satisfaction and dopamine release associated with the habit itself. That said, here are some examples of lifestyle rewards that can help reinforce families of good habits across a variety of different disciplines. For fitness enthusiasts, a membership at a nice gym, a relaxing massage, stylish workout gear, or a quality fitness tracker could be great rewards. Nutritionists might appreciate a high-quality chef's knife, aesthetically pleasing food containers, or workout clothes. And even financial goals can also have unique long-term lifestyle rewards. For those focused on saving money, rewards could involve heavily leaning on time or upgrading daily experiences. For example, someone who saves money by making coffee at night might treat themselves to an espresso machine, which not only saves money in the long run, but also greatly enhances their quality of life. To sum all of this up, the art of behavior change is a vital skill that can be developed at any time and can last a lifetime. Avoiding immediate reward, appreciating the motions inherent in better habits, and promoting positive habits through environmental change can go a long way to solidify the changes we wish to incorporate in our lives and allow us to continually bridge the gap between who we are today and who we want to be tomorrow. That's it for today. See you next time.